Jonathan,
Yes.
let's talk about tech birthdays.
All right. This week we're covering November 1st through the 7th. And we're starting off with George Boole.
George Boole. This guy's from like the 19th century. He was born in 1815 on November 2nd. What does this guy have to do with technology?
Well, he's pretty math savvy. He went to he was a professor in math and created the Boolean logic.
Now it makes sense.
He actually, through math, he created Boolean algebra, which kind of was the, foundation for Boolean logic. So, yeah, he's the father of the Boolean, George Boole.
Yeah, and that, I mean, they took his name and like stuck it right into the how would you call it? It wouldn't be the technology, it would be the idea. Is that
Yeah, methods or
the method? Yeah, they took his
yeah,
name and put it right into the method. That's pretty cool. The laws of thought. There's a guy, his name is Uncle Bob, and he he's a little bit on the older side. I wouldn't say that old, but he's definitely close to retirement age, if not already retired. And he goes through a very sophisticated method, or I should say, a very sophisticated, but making it simplistic enough for a layman to be able to understand Boolean logic. And he does it with light switches. And he creates a program based on the light switches. And I thought it was kind of cool the way he explains it. I feel I'm pretty good with Boolean logic in programming. I wouldn't know how Boolean algebra comes into play. Would you know?
No, that's new to me too.
Interesting. Yeah. I don't think I've ever had to take math to that level. So or maybe I have and I didn't know it was Boolean algebra. And so yeah, it's crazy how math is involved in pretty much every aspect of life. There's like you have to learn math to a certain degree to be able to survive in the world.
Especially algebra for computer programming. I feel like that's kind of the basis of it too.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the things that, yeah, the basics of algebra, right, is x plus y equals something, and then you have to solve for one or the other, right? It's like you get that. That's like an everyday thing in programming. And even if you don't know algebra, you'll be able to pick up algebra when you learn to program. And it is like there's really no way to avoid it. And even when you learn to program, you probably not aware that you're dealing with algebraic problems. It just becomes a programming logic to you, but you're dealing with algebra quite a bit. And more importantly, you're dealing with word problems in algebra. And as you become more proficient at solving these word problems, if you go back and revisit algebraic problems that start as word problems, it comes to you a lot easier because you've been dealing with it all the time.
Yeah.
So, cool. Who else do we got?
All right. Next up, we have Philip Katz, who is known for PKware.
Philip Katz, Catman. I don't think he was a cat man. That's
a hard nickname for him. The cat man.
The cat man.
Who is known for the creator of the zip file and data compression.
Yeah. This is something that, I mean, first of all, the guy died at the age of 37. My God. He lived a rough life. Yeah, I mean, to die at the age of 80, of 37, I mean, that's rough in itself. But what was interesting about this as we were reading it, Jonathan, was that through the legal struggles of him being sued by System Enhancements Associate or SEA, um, PKware or the zip file became free and available for anybody to implement.
Mhm.
I think in Windows 95, you had to download like an extension for you to be able to zip and unzip from the Windows File Explorer. It wasn't built into Windows 95, and I don't even know if it was built into Windows 98. But later in future editions of Windows, it actually is just part of the operating system. You know, you can right click and you say send to compressed folder, and it just creates a zip file for you. Or if you receive a zip file, I got to just double click on it and it'll unzip it for you in memory so you can see the contents, and you can just right click and unpack it or unzip it to a particular location that you want it to go to. And I think that the whole result of these legal battles that he had with SEA is what led to zip just being available everywhere for anybody to use without having to pay for it.
Well, thank you, Mr. Katz, for allowing us to zip and unzip files for data.
Sorry that we lost you so quickly too. Gosh, wish could have hung out more.
All right, next up we have Jerry Yang, who is known for being the CEO of Yahoo.
Wait, but how do you say it?
Yahoo!
Yeah. I heard a story about Yahoo. Apparently they were looking for a name for their website. And as they were looking through the dictionary, they found the word Yahoo. And what the meaning that they found of Yahoo meant, let's do it again. And that's how they ended up using yahoo.com.
Weird.
Yeah, it was totally weird, but they were perusing through the dictionary to find a name of this for their website. Yeah, Yahoo went through some changes. I mean, a lot of changes, because they started off as a very strong search engine. You know, you go to Yahoo and look up just like you would go to Google. I were you around to use Yahoo as a search engine, or did you jump in right with Google?
I think I jumped in right with Google, but I also had Yahoo. I think it was just for like AOL.
Instant Messenger or something?
Messenger.
Yeah.
So I didn't really explore Yahoo, but I know it was a search engine as well.
Yeah, they were a search engine. That's what they started off as. And when they went public, man, they were making some pretty good money. I mean, whoever was investing in Yahoo. In fact, there's a movie, I forget the name of the movie, but it's regarding time traveling. And so apparently, like, some parent goes back in time to visit his, I don't know if it was his daughter or son or something, or maybe some young version of their friend. I forget exactly what it was. And he tells me, he goes, I got one piece of advice for you. Look into Yahoo. You know, I mean, the kid was like 10, 12 years old, but apparently by the time they would become like age to invest, Yahoo was about to go public. And so that's, you know, he tells me, like, look into Yahoo, you know. And I don't think Yahoo was even formed when this kid, you know, when they went back in time. But it's true. I mean, whoever bought into Yahoo made a ton of money. And if you cashed out at the right time, you walked away with your money. But if you hung out, your money pretty much dwindled away to nothing. So, but I wouldn't say that it was Jerry's fault. I think it was a much bigger situation, economical the economics at the time, maybe other managements that they had. I mean, there was a whole mix of things that just caused Yahoo to lose value. But I think it's still around
Yeah.
as of now, and they're some kind of marketing company still. You can still set up a Yahoo email. I know I have one
Cool.
that I still use.
All right. Next up, we have Gordon Eubanks.
Not related to Bob Eubanks, right? The game show host. Who is this guy?
He's known for Semantic.
Semantic. Yeah. He doesn't have much of an interesting story other than the fact that he was a CEO for Semantic, but Semantic has a much more interesting story. The guy who came up with Semantic, the company itself, when it originated, he came up with a product called undelete, which meant that if you deleted a file on your DOS computer, that's it. It was gone. I mean, there was just no coming back from it. But what that gentleman found, and I forget his name. I definitely know it wasn't this guy. But the guy that created the undelete, he found that the file system, all it did was remove the first letter of the file name and replaced it with a tilde. And it was still in the file system, but the file system would ignore any files that started with a tilde. So he created undelete to go and list these files. And I guess he had some kind of dictionary of words so that you can go and he would offer the first letter of the file name so that you can go ahead and undelete it and bring it back so that the file system would see it as a file that shouldn't be overwritten anymore. And unfortunately, undelete only works for a certain amount of time, because at a certain point, the portions of the files, if the operating system needed that space, it would automatically just begin to remove those blocks of information for that file. And so after a certain point of so much writing and activity in the hard drive, it couldn't restore those files anymore. So you had a small window of time in order to restore those files.
Wow.
But yeah, Semantic has a much more interesting story than Mr. Gordon Eubanks. Mr. Gordon Eubanks just happened to be, he has a significant history. I'm not going to say I don't think it's as interesting as Semantic's story. But just to kind of give credit where credit is due, Gordon Eubanks did write his thesis on a language compiler for BASIC, and he called it BASIC E, which was just an enhanced version of BASIC. I don't know to what extent he enhanced BASIC, but it was for the CP/M operating system.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty cool.
All right, that's all we have for tech birthdays this week.
All right, until next time.
Peace out.